Currently at the time of this recording, the version of Herta is currently version 3. However, even though this isn't the finished state, I still feel comfortable enough making this video as any changes that do occur will simply be small word changes and possible slight calculation changes. Having said that though, the Herta will be coming out in Honkai Star Rail in version 3.0, and now is the perfect time to start planning on how to build her. We will be covering her kit, best relics, Lightcones, Ornaments, and her best teams. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting with her basic attack, Herta will be doing damage to a single target, dealing ice damage. Her skill, Big Brain Energy, deals ice damage to a single enemy and will inflict them with 1 stack of interpretation, and then deal ice damage to the enemy hit by the previous instance of the skill and adjacent enemies. In order for us to understand interpretation, we need to look at her talent. Whenever an enemy enters battle, Herta will grant 1 stack of interpretation onto the enemy. Upon using her enhanced skill on the enemy with interpretation, the multiplier of the damage dealt increases with each stack, granting 8% for the primary target and 4% for all other enemies. If you have 2 other characters following the same path of erudition on the team, each stack will double the damage multiplier. Interpretation has a max stack of 42 times, and upon using the enhanced skill, the interpretation stacks will reset to 1 for the primary target. If you manage to defeat the enemy with interpretation, the stacks will be transferred, prioritizing any elite class enemy or above. In order to have access to her enhanced skill, you first must use her ultimate, Told Ya, Magic Happens. Once activated, it will rearrange all the current interpretation stacks on enemies, prioritizing the transfer of higher number stacks onto elite class enemies or higher. Then, Herta deals ice AoE damage to all enemies and increases her own attack by 80% for 3 turns. Finally, Herta will gain 2 stacks of inspiration. While having inspiration, Herta's skill will be enhanced. For each instance of the enhanced skill, Herta will consume 1 stack of inspiration, while dealing ice damage to the selected enemy, inflicting 1 stack of interpretation along with damage to all enemies. However, not just Herta can inflict stacks of interpretation. Whenever an ally attacks, Herta will inflict 1 stack of interpretation. Then if you use her enhanced skill on an enemy with 42 stacks of interpretation, Herta will increase her damage by 50% until the end of the enhanced skill attack. And for every stack of interpretation on the enemy, Herta will increase her ultimate damage multiplier by 1%, stacking up to 99 times. Additionally, besides being strictly a damage dealing character, if you have 2 other characters on the erudition path, Herta will grant 80% crit damage boost for all enemies. For all allies. Herta does a lot for the team, however has some limitations to bringing out her maximum potential, and that you need to have 2 other characters of the erudition path, so team building will be somewhat restricted. Moving over to the Lightcones, while Herta does provide a lot for herself and the team, she is hindered for the Lightcones given how she follows the path of erudition. Obviously, the best in slot is going to be her signature Lightcone, as it provides crit rate, and whenever she launches her ultimate, it will increase the damage done by both her skill and ultimate by 60% for 3 turns. And once you do launch the ultimate, she will recover 1 skill point. The only other 5-star option would be Himiko's Lightcone, as it provides an attack increase while being stackable. And whenever an enemy is weakness broken, keep in mind it doesn't have to be done by the wearer. The wearer will then benefit from a damage boost for 1 turn. For 4-star options, I would say the best option would have to be Genius's Repose, as it provides attack, and whenever the wearer defeats an enemy, you gain a crit damage boost for 3 turns. Jumping over to the Relics and Ornaments, best in slot I believe would be the Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters, granting a damage boost of 12% against enemies with the debuff which Herta provides. And if you have 4 pieces, you gain a 4% crit rate and a crit damage boost towards enemies with either 2 or 3 debuffs. Another set that you can use that I would recommend would be the Scholar Lost in Erudition, as it grants an 8% crit rate increase and increases the skill and ultimate damage by 20. And once you use your ultimate, it increases the next skill damage by 25%. And because Herta's main role is damage, you can also run other damage boosting sets if your rolls are better. For the ornaments, I believe the best in slot is going to be the Izuma, Gensai, and Takama Divine Realm, providing a 12% attack boost, and when you have at least one teammate following the same path, the wearer gets a 12% increase to critical rate. Obviously, you get the full potential out of Herta when you have 2 Erudition characters, so this condition will be fulfilled. Another option would be the Sigonia, the Unclaimed Desolation, giving 4% crit rate, and when an enemy is defeated, the wearer gets a crit damage boost, increasing of 4%, stacking up to 10 times. Finally, for Herta's teams, the major part is which Erudition characters you're going to be running with her in order to fulfill her talent's conditions. Funny enough, the 4-star Herta will work great with the 5-star. Being able to get your enemies below 50% health will be relatively easy, and because of this, causing break effect will be easy. So, following that train of thought, Himiko will also be amazing for the Herta. Some other options could be Jade, as having a unit consistently provide follow-up attacks would bring out supports like Robin to benefit the team. Or even Argenti if you just want maximum power output.